In 1984, Cities and the Wealth of Nations was written by Jane Jacobs. Jacobs is best known for her earlier book, The Death and Life of Great American Cities, which challenged top-down urban planning and modernist orthodoxy. But this later book does something even more radical. It challenges macroeconomics itself. Jacobs argued that economists have made a fundamental error. They treat nations as primary economic unit. But in reality, she says, cities, not nations, are the real engines of economic life. This book is not about urban design in the conventional sense. It's about economic structure, innovation, trade and currency, and development. And yet it is deeply architectural. Because if cities generate economic growth through internal differentiation and import replacement, then spatial structure and urban complexity are not aesthetic accidents. They are economic necessities. So here the core thesis: cities, not nations. Jacobs begins with a simple but powerful observation. Economic development doesn't occur across nations. It occurs in specific cities. Innovation, new industries, trade networks, and productivity increases almost always emerge from urban centers, not from governments, not from national policies, not from entire countries, but from cities and their economic ecosystems. This challenges traditional economic thinking, which treats nations as unified economic systems. Jacobs argued that this is misleading, because within any nation, cities have completely different economic trajectories. Some cities grow rapidly, some stagnate, some decline, even inside the same country. So why cities drive economic growth? Jacobs explained that cities are unique because they concentrate people, skills, industries, trade, knowledge, and innovation. Cities allow new economic activities to emerge through interaction. New products appear, new industries form, new markets develop. This process is called import replacement, one of Jacobs' key concepts. Cities begin by importing goods. Then they learn to produce those goods locally. Then they innovate and export new products. This cycle creates economic growth, and this process happens at the city level, not the nation level. So here the failure of the national economic thinking. Jacobs argues that economists make a fundamental mistake. They assume national economics behave as single systems, but nations are actually collections of very different cities and regions. For example, industrial cities behave differently from agricultural regions. Port cities behave differently from island towns. Innovation hubs behave differently from resource-based areas. Trying to manage all of them with one national policy creates distortions, because what helps one city may harm another. This leads to inefficient policies, uneven development, and economic stagnation. In Jacobs' view, national economic thinking ignores the real structure of economic life. Cities are the real units of development. Jacobs makes a crucial distinction. Growth equals getting bigger. Development equals becoming more complex. a country can grow without developing. For example, resource export economies, oil-dependent nations, single industry regions. They may increase GDP, but they do not increase internal complexity. Cities that develop add new types of work, generate new categories of goods, and innovate across sectors. Development increases economic variety density. This is remarkably close to ecological models of diversification, and for designers, a city for repetitive housing blocks may glow as city of layered mixed-use networks develops. And here's the problem with the national currencies. Currency as an economic tool. Jacobs then moves to one of the most controversial ideas. National currencies often harm cities. This may sound surprising. Currencies are supposed to stabilize the economics. They regulate trade, control inflation, and support national growth. But Jacobs argued that national currencies create structural problems because they force very different cities to operate under the same monetary conditions. So one currency, many economics. A single nation's currency assumes that all regions have similar economic needs. But cities and regions are economically different. Some cities are growing rapidly, some are declining, some are industrializing, some depend on imports, some depends on exports, yet all must use the same currency. This creates imbalances. Growing cities may need a stronger currency. Declining regions may need a weaker one. But national currency policies cannot serve both. As a result, economic development becomes distorted. Jacobs argued that national currencies often suppress successful cities. When a productive city grows rapidly, it strengthens the national economy. This can cause currency appreciation. A stronger currency makes exports more expensive, which harms the exporting cities. In other words, success leads to penalties. Growing cities lose competitiveness because national currency policy responds to the entire country, not the city. Meanwhile, weaker regions may benefit from policies designed to protect them. This creates a paradox. Strong cities are constrained, weak regions are supported, and overall economic growth slows. So Jacobs proposes a radical alternative. Cities should have their own currencies, not necessarily as independent states, but as economic units that can adjust their currency to match their economic activity. This would allow flexible exchange rates, balanced trade, local economic stability, and sustainable growth. Historically, many cities functioned this way. Before modern nation-states, city-based economies often controlled their own financial systems. Jacobs suggests the modern national currency systems remove this flexibility, and in doing so, they weaken urban economic development. Jacobs introduces another important idea. Some regions are poor not because they are inherently unproductive, but because they are economically subordinated to stronger cities. She calls these relationships transactions of decline, or economic colonialism within nations. A dominant capital city can drain innovation and capital from smaller cities. This creates structural imbalance. Development requires multiple innovative city regions, not a single dominant center. This idea is particularly relevant to countries with strong primate cities. It also speaks to regional planning and decentralization policy. So Jacobs then explores how economic activity constantly shifts across cities. Economic development is not permanent. Cities rise and fall. Industries move. Trade routes change. Innovation relocates. This is a natural process. Cities that innovate grow. Cities that fail to adapt decline. This dynamic movement is essential to economic evolution. And Jacobs describes a recurring pattern. A city develops the new industries. It becomes economically strong. Other cities imitate or compete. And economic activity spreads. New centers emerge. And then the original city must innovate again. This creates a continuous cycle. Economic activity shifts across regions and cities over time. No city remains dominant forever. Economic growth is always moving. Jacobs emphasizes that cities do not develop in isolation. They exist in networks. Cities trade with each other. They exchange goods, knowledge, and innovation. This creates regional and global economic systems, not national systems. For example, a manufacturing city may depend on another city for technology. A port city may depend on island cities for production. A financial city may support multiple industry centers. Economic activity flows through urban networks. When national policies try to freeze economic patterns, problems emerge. Governments often try to protect declining industries, or support weak regions, or stabilize national markets. But this throws natural economic change. Instead of allowing cities to evolve and specialize, national systems lock them into outdated structures. This leads to economic stagnation, inefficient industries, and declining competitiveness. Jacobs argued that economic vitality requires flexibility. Cities must be allowed to grow, change, and reorganize. At a deeper level, Jacob is making a philosophical argument. Economic life is organic. It grows like a living system. Cities are the organisms. Nations are administrative frameworks. Trying to control economic life at the national level is like trying to control a forest by regulating the soil in a one uniform way. It ignores diversity. It ignores complexity. And it ignores the real source of growth. Economic vitality comes from local innovation, urban intersection, and dynamic networks of cities. Although this is an economic book, its spatial implications are profound. If development depends on import replacement and diversification, then cities must encourage small-scale enterprise and maintain mixed-use districts, support proximity between industries, preserve affordable experimentation spaces. Large-scale zoning segregation works against development. Urban monoculture works against development. Infrastructure must support circulation of ideas, goods, and skills. Economic complexity requires spatial permeability. However, of course, Jacobs' ideas have been debated. Some economists argue that national currencies provide stability and prevent financial chaos. Others say city-based currencies would create fragmentation and inequality. And critics note that nations provide infrastructure, security, and regulation the city alone cannot manage. Still, Jacob's argument forces us to reconsider a fundamental assumption. Is economic development truly national, or is it urban? This question remains central in economic geography and urban theory today. Cities and the Wealth of Nations reframes economics as a study of living, evolving urban systems. Jacobs asks us to see cities not as containers of people, but as generators of new work. Development is not imposed from above. It emerges from density, diversity, and differentiation. For architects, planners, and designers, economic vitality is not separate from spatial form. A city that allows complexity allows development, and perhaps most importantly, the wealth of nation is derivative. The wealth of city is generative. Thank you for watching. I hope this video helps you better understand the foundation of architecture thinking and encourage you to explore the original book and its diagrams more deeply. We are still climbing the ladder of knowledge in architecture, art, philosophy, and design. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below.